Hello, my name is John Reynolds. Welcome to Extraordinary Life Stories. On this episode, I'm talking with Ampika Pickston. Ampika is a well-known media personality, businesswoman and entrepreneur, probably best recognised for her role on The Real Housewives of Cheshire. With a larger-than-life personality and a strong entrepreneurial spirit, Ampika has built a successful career in the beauty industry, founding the Opium Beauty Salon. Her no-nonsense attitude and candid approach to life have endeared her to fans and clearly are key ingredients in her success in business. I'm very much looking forward to talking with Ampika, so let's get into it. Ampika, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I've been looking forward to this. Tell me, who is Ampika Pickston?
Oh gosh, try to describe it in a nutshell. So a lot of people might know me from The Real Housewives of Cheshire. I was one of the original cast members. I'd say I'm very much first and foremost a mother, business owner of 3 businesses. I flip back in and out of housewives, a fiance, a lover to one person only, a best friend, and an ex-wife. That's me in a nutshell.
Oh, bless you. Take me back to a young Ampika, that kind of who and what were the early influences for your career and life decisions?
I'd say the strongest influence I had growing up was my grandfather. I had a really traumatic childhood. It's really very strange. Every time I talk about, my voice chokes. It literally must be sat right there that you only have to push me to talk about my childhood. Just
oh, bless you, like a trauma button.
Yeah, just. But it's fine. I can talk about it and share it. I was. It's difficult to tell your story without getting emotional, but I suppose it's a story that you have to share and be very honest and open with. So my mum and dad got together. My mum lived in Thailand and she wanted a passport to come to England. My dad was a very insecure Western man who was desperate to find a woman to love him, adore him, cherish him. So I was born through someone wanting a passport and a dad just wanting a wife, basically. No one really wanted me as a child because I wasn't really the game plan. The game plan was mum to come over here, get a better life in England, my dad to find a wife who'd be subservient or whatever he wanted to be. So I was kind of like the gateway to facilitate the 2 people coming together. The way my mum chose to parent was very damaging. Lots of stuff went on in my childhood that was really emotionally heartbreaking. I wrote a book last year about it, which was wonderful. It was very cathartic to write. And I suppose through pain you find purpose, don't you? You find the strength from somewhere to carry on. And you take those experiences in a positive light and you never stand back and sit and dwell as a victim. You move forward and you find a solution. Sorry, I can't stop.
Oh, bless you. There's clearly a hugely resilient, strong person sitting here. And just the fact that you can be vulnerable but taking back to these memories that are clearly still so raw, right?
Yeah.
And you're sitting here now, successful, thriving,
Yeah.
flourishing, strong, without going into all the, just the very fact that you clearly felt like you were a byproduct of a scenario through your mother and your father, and felt that through your childhood. It was more than that. You were actually, not treated right.
Yeah, my mum sold me when I was 4 and left me in a house in Germany. All sorts of just things that, it's difficult to talk about openly.
Sure. What got you through this time? Because you are here now as someone that, and this story right now is either resonating with someone, probably revealing a part to you that they're never going to see on, TV, Housewives of Cheshire, if you like.
No, I'd never discussed it. I think it's difficult as well because when you've been through a lot of trauma, you never want to see yourself as a victim. My life back then is very different to my life now. So unless people ask me a question about my childhood, I never discuss it. Because to me, it's part of me and it's part of my journey. but it's not my existence now. So it's not really relevant to anybody.
It shaped you though.
It shaped me massively, and it's given me a lot of inner strength. Might not look like I'm particularly strong, sat here blubbering, but it's given me a lot of fire in my belly, and it's given me that inner fight that I will never be suppressed. I will never allow anyone to walk over me, to abuse me, to mistreat me in any shape or form. And I'm a real advocate for people that have been the underdog, or that have been abused or neglected or anything like that. I want to be involved and make a difference in those people's lives. So I think through people that have been through a lot of pain and trauma, sexual abuse, physical abuse, being sold, all that type of stuff, you can help other people because you understand, you have empathy.
I was just going to say, empathy, which is so missing in today's world, particularly with social media and AI. I mean, you're exuding vulnerability but strength at the same time right now, right? You know, you've gone to a place that, you know, takes you to horrific memories and so on, but you are a pillar of strength. And
I kind of wrapped up in a parcel and put it on the top shelf, and it's really
makes you
strange.
So complex, but also so interesting, and someone that I guess could be seen as a role model. If people are learning this for the first time about you, to have come through, you know, what has got you through this? I kind of asked this earlier, but just in terms of coping mechanisms, in terms of layering of, I'm going to get through this. What's the inner voice that's got you through sometimes where, dare I say, other people might have succumbed?
I think it's the influence of my granddad, because it was such a traumatic childhood. Both of my parents, mother and father, were really poor, abusive role models in different ways. But the one ray of sunshine in my life, I've got no brothers and sisters, was my grandfather, who was a kind, stable, honest, very working class, normal Mancunian chap who just, for me, was the pillar of strength and kindness and love and affection. So all of those wonderful traits and virtues influenced me growing up. So
you could see the light against a huge amount of darkness, right? Yeah.
So he was like my saviour. If it wasn't for my granddad, I would have gone through the care system. So luckily, for whatever reason, he was placed into my life to bring me up. He left work at a young age, he retired early, so he could take on the responsibility of bringing me up, because my parents weren't mentally well or stable enough to do so. So the influence of him showed me what family life should look like, and I think those values and virtues have very much been instilled into me. And even though he's not with us anymore, I'm so grateful. I always say every day, thank you for what you've given me, because it will pass on
Gratitude.
to the next. Yeah.
We're actually filming in the JAAQ, the social media mental health platform studio. And it's got my brain thinking where having access to your granddad's way of showing love and giving you light against the dark. Yeah. You just learnt about Jack for the first time today, so I totally busy. But that whole stigma about mental health and not talking and not sharing and not being vulnerable, which you are literally the epitome of. What are your thoughts on kind of what more needs to be done to support people that perhaps aren't brave enough to be themselves, to reach out for help, and for the work that, say, Jack and other sort of forces of good in the world of mental health are doing?
I mean, obviously we've got a mutual friend over with John Caldwell. So last time I went to his house, he was talking about he was looking at setting up a group of mentors that will go through a very, very vigorous training process to be able to be partnered up and twin with young people that are struggling with mental health, where they've got a friend who can make the right decisions, who can help guide them. And I suppose that's what I've done in my later life. When I got to 38, I decided that the traumas that I've been through, I want to help. So I'd set up a children's home, and that's what I've done. I've had nightmares with the regulatory body, which I'm currently taking a civil action against 3 inspectors, but that's another story. But I have got a children's home. I'm struggling at the moment because I've got problems with the regulatory system of how it works, and the prejudice, I believe, towards me. But I think through any type of trauma that people have had, it makes you realise and recognise that there's an outlet where you can help people. So whether it's through children's services, whether it's having a social platform, a digital platform, it's just a way of reaching out, isn't it? Whether you inhabit children, young people into an environment, or whether you can do it virtually, any type of free information or guidance. So it comes from a really good place. There's no gain.
Authentic.
Yeah, there's no gain. It's just the fact that you want to give makes a huge difference. And we talk about it, and it's very cliche, mental health, but what does it look like? It's not one size fits all. Everyone's traumas and everyone's life experiences is so varied and so different. And you can't really depict, well, that's what it looks like because that's what's happened to me. We're all different. We all walk in our own shoes. We all have our own path of life's journey, rich tapestries to embrace. But to have a platform where people can go and they know it's a no name, it's a secure name, it's something that they can put trust and faith into. We are screaming out for that, and we haven't got that. So may this be the first to really, really make a presence in the market where you become a brand leader, and it's not for any gain, it's just to help.
It's interesting you mentioned brand, because if you try and think of a cool brand in the mental health space, if you're calling the Samaritans, and the work they do is phenomenal, it's so needed. But you've hit crisis. You are potentially calling because you want to give up. So I think that so much of what we're talking about here is preventative and being inspirational, and that lived experience, let alone again from a Jack point of view, the kind of Avengers of healthcare, if you like, giving accurate, authentic information on all things mental health. We have another mutual friend, Tanya Bardsley.
Oh, Tanya.
She connected us, right?
Yeah,
and
she did.
Just listening to you then, having the right people around you is so important in life in general, right? Let alone what you've been through. And probably that isolation, loneliness. To now have a tribe of people, of which, Tanya's one of them. How did you find your tribe?
I suppose I think there's very much two people inside of me. There's the extrovert, which is very flamboyant, but that I really do feel is like a mask. There's another side of me that is a very profound, deep thinker, big in meditation, big in Buddhist philosophy, a real thirst for knowledge, a real quest to find my inner peace. So the other side of Ampika is actually quite a quiet, reserved person. I analyse, I think, I observe, and you get a sense of what is wrong and what is right. So I'm extremely selective. I've got friends, but I'd say my inner circle consists of about 5 people. I'm extremely loyal, and I put a lot of emphasis on friendships because I want to make sure that it's balanced, that it's not just a case of I just take or they just take from me, that I'm equally able to give and support them. So I've probably got about 5 people that I'm exceptionally close to, I'm really grateful for, but I cherish and I invest a lot of time and hard work into maintaining those, because they're part of, when you think about building a house, the structure of a house of 4 strong, sturdy walls, and one of those walls for the house, for me mentally, is that friendship wall. I wasn't gifted with a great family. I have an amazing granddad who's no longer here. So my friends, or the people that I choose to share my life journey with, are so integral to my well-being. So I choose very, very wisely. And I suppose my best friend is David, my fiance.
How did you meet David?
Goes through a girlfriend. I did a modelling part on a TV show called Cutting It many, many years ago with Amanda Holden, Angela Griffin, and she had a small part in that series, and I had a small part in that series too. So we met through her mutual connection 16 years ago, a long time ago.
Because from getting to know you, speaking to you before the programme and following you on socials, and I know that I've just taken you through a period of being upset, but you're super positive.
Yes,
and you're fun.
I am. Yes,
right?
I am.
And you show that.
Try to be.
Try
to be funny.
But in the same way that you're not trying to be, it's you. So like a lot of the stuff that I've seen you putting out, you're just being fun and you're sort of enjoying life. And when did you sort of turn that corner where you could just kind of be that person?
I think I've always been that person. I try not to dwell, even like growing up in my teenage years, when you're going through, you're hitting all your hormones and you're learning about life and you're trying to piece things together and you're trying to understand yourself and the outside world and experiences and experiencing things for the first time round. I never got down for too long. I knew I had like a self-sabotage in me, relating back to my childhood, but I knew that there was something inside of me that was really powerfully strong that said, you can't sit down for too long. You're on a life mission and you're on a purpose to do something. And you can't do anything while you're sitting down, crying and focusing on what has been, not what is going to be.
So that was a conscious effort.
Yeah, conscious effort, yeah.
And that's also a really key mindset from a business point of view.
Yeah.
Which makes you a formidable entrepreneur.
Yes.
So talk to me about that sort of business journey side of things, because the TV side of things almost it doesn't do you justice, you know what I mean?
No.
That's I don't want to say easy at all.
No.
But you're starting your own businesses. You've started your own foundation.
Yeah.
When did you start that?
I didn't ideally didn't go in the mindset to set any businesses up, just because the influence of my mother was like, you're just going to get married and that's it, because that's what you need to do. And when I got with my husband, ex-husband at the time, he was very successful and he's like, listen, you really don't need to be bothering with working, this is just silly. The thought of you having your own business would be very foolish when we go around the world all the time and I need you to be my wife and be able to go on these holidays with me. So I kind of like accepted at 18, 19 that this is my role. I will become a wife and I will have these children and I will keep the home beautiful and I will organise dinner parties. And then when my marriage started to break down, I thought, shit, what am I actually going to do? Go and marry somebody else? And I was like, well, I need to find me, because I've never really been able to find me, because I had these influences growing up that haven't been the healthiest of influences. I haven't, apart from the influence of my granddad, I haven't really seen what love looks like, what a family environment looks like, what a support network looks like, what, you know, decent human beings, so to speak, look like. I haven't had that influence. So I decided just before I was 30 to set my own business up. I was doing hair at the time and I thought, I'm making decent money doing these hair extensions. Hair extensions had just come out and I thought, if I could transport this to a fixed premises and employ staff, I've already built on my client basis, I'm making decent money, that would really work for me. So I set up a hair and beauty salon. And I worked really hard in that for 2 years, and the TV show came along and that kind of like took me off in a different direction. But you're always evolving and growing. Then I went into the slimming market. I was the first person to be selling Saxenda, Novo Nordisk, prescription slimming injection, Saxenda, Ozempic, now Agave. I was one of the first people to get registered by the CQC because I did an online service, distributed the drug through nurse prescribers through the whole of the UK into Northern Ireland, and then I set up an aesthetics training school. I've now got 5. I'm about to open up the 6th one, and I've gone into a children's home. So it sounds like a lot in a short amount of time, but it's been like over a 10-year journey. I'm 43 now, and I started going down that road when I was 28, 29. Finally got my premises just before I was 30 of matching my own business, and nothing quite prepared you for it. And I thought, maybe when I opened up my business, thought maybe, you know, my ex-husband's right. I came out of school with no qualifications, you know, nothing about business. How are you going to operate? How are you going to employ people? Do you know anything about employment law? Do you know about how to do your books and your finances? All the rest of it. But it is an advantage going to business school, but also nothing prepares you from living that experience. People buy into people. So you could have the best concept in the world, but if someone doesn't like you, or you cannot motivate, or you cannot connect with your staff team, you are never going to build up anything. So you have to throw yourself in there, find these life skills, connect with people, find a product that's of value, monopolise that value, and get a team of people that are 110% invested into you. They will move your product forward. So the other part of my life is who do I invest my time with? My staff. My staff are really, really crucial to me. Have I been stung? Yes. Have I been let down? Have I been disappointed? 110%. But I still wake up the next day with a smile on my face thinking, tomorrow is another day. I'm going to fucking smash it.
Yeah, and that's the tribe element. And these are people that are supporting you as well, right?
Yes, yeah.
And I guess I can relate this from a business point of view. You kiss some frogs and you get so disappointed by people. But actually, where you've come from, how you've come through these tough times, you're probably more prepared than others. If we get such a shock, how can you do that? Well, you've had horrific things happen to you. Yeah. And another underlying thing here, because there's massive passion coming from you when you talk like that, right? How important is that? Because everything you've done, everything you've set up, you've had an interest in and you've had a passion for.
Yes. I think it probably came back from the influence of my mum. I mean, this is going to come out anyway because I've written my book and my book will be coming out next year. My mum wanted me to work in the sex industry, And my mum was hell-bent on me not going back to school when I was 14, 15 and staying in Germany. It's a cry. And I think that gave me the resilience to think, I won't be bullied by anybody. And I've got to carve my own career out and stand on my own 2 feet. So in a way I cry, but she's probably been my best teacher, because that gave me that fire and that doubt to say, no, you will not have control over my life, or you will not make any decisions for me.
You're fighting imposter syndrome all the time, right? So you've got the voices of people that have actually said things to you that then gets into your head.
Yeah.
Where maybe I can't do this. But what I love is the Ampika inner voice basically says, screw you.
Yeah.
I'm having
I think that's a fight, isn't it? I think that's a fight. And
to the point where you wouldn't actually be this strong and formidable if these things hadn't happened to you, which, you know.
It gives you resilience, and that's one word I think about when I look at today's youth and I look at people struggling to cope. Not that there's anything ashamed of not being able to cope, because a lot of us all been there on the brink or gone just past the brink, and we just need to pull it back, is resilience, isn't it? You have to find a way somewhere, whether it's through friends or through talking or through sharing or through therapy. You have to find a way where we can pull back and we can regroup and find that inner strength somewhere. I know it's easier said than done.
Absolutely.
And I've just simplified it on a plate, and it's not that simple.
Of course not. And one of the questions I was going to ask you, I think you've really already said, was the Instagram. And of course, you've got a huge social media following. Yeah. So the Insta versus reality of business and entrepreneurship can be very different. Yes. Hard work, long hours.
Yeah. It's relentless, isn't it?
It is relentless. But you clearly, you've already demonstrated that you're putting the work in, you're putting it in, because I think I mentioned about passion, but also purpose. Yeah. And the question I also had for you was, what advice would you give to someone as an aspiring entrepreneur, particularly a female entrepreneur? Because I think that role models so often, particularly in the UK, have been male-orientated and dominated. Yeah. And you are a female beacon, if you like, from a hope point of view, from a entrepreneurial point of view. But if you just had to give one piece of advice to an aspirational kind of late teens, early 20s young girl wanting to be successful in a business, what advice would it be?
I would say never go into a business that you know nothing about. You have to go into a business where you know it inside and out, and that is the building blocks of success. You cannot build something that you don't know. You need to select the materials very, very carefully of how you're going to build a foundation, a structure upon. Because when you know an industry inside and out, you'll have an insight into the pitfalls, into the highs and the lows of that industry. I don't believe that any business any of us go into will continuously make money. A lot of businesses struggle anyway, just to survive and break even, to get to that 3-year mark. I admire anybody who has the courage and the balls to set up a business, because that takes a real entrepreneur. To me, it's not even about the money. Obviously, you need to make sure that it's covering the costs, the running costs, but it's about the journey, not just the destination. And it's how you define success. For me, and it sounds really spoilt brattish what I'm going to say now, I'm very fortunate. I have a very lovely life. I don't have to work. I choose to work. I want to work. And people say to me, like, what's the end driver? There never will be an end driver. There's no amount of money. There's no wages that I want, just to mean. It's about the passion and the purpose and the reason why I get up and what I'm trying to establish. Every day I pay my staff's wages. They're able to take the children to private school. They can get cars and get mortgages thanks to me. That gives me a great sense of pride and fulfillment. If you go into doing something that you're changing other people's lives, like in the children's care industry, you're making a difference there, day-to-day existence, that fills me with so much pleasure. So it's having that passion. Go into a business that you know something about, so you understand the pitfalls, you know that business inside and out, because no one's going to educate yourself better than you. You can get the best experts, the best managers, the best company chief directors, but it's just bullshit. You need to know that business inside and out, and that's what I'd say through and through. And if you do it with a passion, something that you're passionate about, you will really reap the rewards of that. Because if you're waking up every morning with a dark cloud hanging over your head thinking, I really don't like this industry, this is not for me, you are going down the wrong avenue.
So much like maturity perspective there. Imagine a young Ampika listening to this now, right? It's like, it's amazing. And also, I think hand in hand with the mindset and the advice is how you look after yourself physically and mentally.
Yes.
So clearly you look after yourself physically.
Yes,
I want to know what you do and why you do that, and do you have a routine?
Oh, this is something we all fight with, isn't it? It's constant routine. If I feel like I'm doing really well, excelling in business, maybe my relationship, I'm not giving David enough of my time and love and attention, and I think about my son, is my son getting enough of time and love and attention?
This whole being an entrepreneur,
It's literally,
you make time.
Yes.
Because I'm the same, right? So you make that time. And
you have
when
to.
do you do that? Do you do it early in the morning to get it?
I have quite a strict routine. So every Sunday, I have set things that I've got to do, mandatory, fundamental things in my diary that have to be done every week. So on a Sunday night, I feel out of sorts if I haven't worked. So on a Sunday night is the best time for me. I've got clarity. My phone isn't ringing. My staff aren't mithering me. I plan my week. Everything is scheduled from the minute I get up to what time I'm exercising. It can affect me sometimes hormonally. If I've not had enough sleep, I'll be tired when I'm in the gym. But I make sure I've got everything pretty much around me. I've got my food organised in the fridge. I've got all my meal preps done. So I know what I'm having at 12 o'clock. I know what I'm having at 3 o'clock snack time. I've got a home gym. Fantastic. I don't have to get in the car and go anywhere. I've even got leg weights, so if I'm at a place where there is no gym, I'll put my leg weights on, and I've got a set variation that I'll do of leg work for 45 minutes. Super organised, time where I go through my emails, time where I speak to my staff. Everything's like pretty much regimented. I don't think people see that, because I think, how are you going to put that and share it on your socials? It's quite boring. But that's my sergeant major routine, and that's what keeps all the oil in the cogs turning, because we have structure and routine. I say it to my staff, it's your time management. Your time management's everything. I do work really long days. What business owner doesn't work long days? My day will start about 8 o'clock at my desk. I'll probably finish about 9, 9:30 at night. But I'm not wasting time on pissing about in the kitchen because my food's already made. I'm not wasting time in zooming around here, zooming around there. I look at my diary and I know exactly what I've got to do, and I've got this old-fashioned green highlighter, and every day I go through, and everything that I put a green highlight through that I've achieved, I'm like, it's orgasmic. Yes. Has I hate carrying things over from one day onto the next.
Yeah.
I like to have
it's super
things
efficient,
done.
and it works. You said it earlier, there's no one size fits all. That works for you. What about getting away from the noise? You know, you'll have sort of filming, you'll have all the different things that you're doing in the business side of things. And I suppose what I'm asking is, where's that place for you that you can go, where you can just get away from it all?
Yeah.
And I don't just mean just going forward, but that might be it. And also, you know, meditation or anything that you do just to sort of look after yourself mentally.
I do a journal every night before I go to bed. I have a conversation with myself, which is really important for me because it's a checking in process. Most importantly, about how I'm feeling. So when I listen to the conversations in my own head at night, I know if my mental health is on point or whether it's suffering. So when I talk to myself at the end of the day to look at how I feel about the day, what I've achieved, what am I doing this week, do I feel like I'm on the right path? It will be positive, it will be very firm. Everything that's coming back into me, yeah, you've done a good job, you accomplished that. Yeah, you know what you're doing tomorrow, you know, you're feeling good, you're feeling on top of this, you're feeling empowered, you feel like you have the energy to do it. When I know that my mental health is slightly out of kilter, it'll be, you shit, Ampika, you can't do that. Anxiety comes in, you start to feel frightened. What if this doesn't happen? What if that doesn't happen? I think, whoa, hold on a minute. I can see the wall. I've got to know me. This little girl that, you know, you've carried and you've changed your, you know, your body shape, and you've evolved, and, you know, you got to 43. This little girl's feeling frightened now, and she's feeling full of anxiety, and she's struggling to find the right answers and clarity. You need to take a step back. So let's have a look at what you do in your diary tomorrow, because you're going to have to move some things out, and you're going to have to put me and my headspace and what I need to do as a priority, because if I'm not going to listen to myself, these negative thoughts are going to build up, and at some point I might have some type of meltdown.
That's being really present, isn't it? That's being really self-aware.
Yeah.
And I think that takes time, and I think the journaling is really interesting to me. Like I've at times in my life that's worked for me, and I lose the routine. I lose that, and then I can be at sea with different things, and that's something I'll take from this conversation, definitely. There's so much energy coming off you. There's so much kind of drive and determination. What have you not done? What's next?
I don't even think it's like a tick box of like a wish list. I suppose it's just, it's walking that tightrope, isn't it? It's walking that tightrope and holding everything that is important to me, making sure that I'm very present with the people that I care about, giving them the best of me, And through the businesses that I've chosen to be involved in, aesthetics training schools, that's giving people the opportunity to make money, to build a business, to upskill themselves, to enhance their quality of life. On the flip side of that, it's producing clients that you're making a massive difference to how someone feels about themselves. You're transforming someone, you're giving that time for them to have a consultation, to listen to what their needs are. So the whole process of aesthetics business is a wonderful business, because you're giving people the tools and equipment to make additional money or feel fantastic about themselves.
It's like a fulfillment there, right?
Yeah.
Like a satisfaction. And actually, I was going to ask you what your definition of success would be, and I will ask you that, because there's so many people that could be making lots of money, that could be achieving a certain thing, but you've already said it's about the journey, not the destination. It can be a very hollow experience.
Yeah.
So sitting here now, what would be your definition of success?
To have inner contentment and peace. That's it. It doesn't get much better than that. Sometimes I sit on the bed with David and I just say, you know, he's done unbelievable in his career, and, you know, it's just phenomenal, from a kid that came from a council flat in Wales to what he's achieved now. I'm so in awe of him, and I say to him sometimes at night, we just sit on the bed and look at each other and say, it doesn't get much better than this, does it?
I love that. So you're both appreciating two people
and I've got like a glass of wine, and I look up above and I say, Grandad, are you still looking at me? I'm still here. And I say, I've got a glass of wine and I'm in bed and it's Saturday night and watching boxing together. Life doesn't get much better than this. I'm content. I've done I've fulfilled what I wanted to fulfill in my week. You know, my son's doing okay. My friends around me, they're all in a good place. No one's in a bad place. And it's just, that's it. It's inner contentment. Nothing can top that. You couldn't take me anywhere. You couldn't buy me anything. It's all bullshit at the end of the day. Yeah. It's just the two of us just there. Oh,
you've explained it so well. And from where we were 20 minutes ago in the conversation to now, and I could talk to you for so much longer. Yeah. But the fact that you even use the word content in there, and that for me means so much, because you've clearly been through so much trauma and hardship. But you've made time to speak to me today in a really busy schedule. Thank you so much, Ampika.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you.